My work is on foreign policy. I look at how mainly states, why they do what they do in international relations, and I'm kind of a generalist in foreign policy, so I don't focus on one specific country or even one specific region. I'm more interested in the different factors that help explain. And my research has looked at political parties and their role in foreign policy, and a lot of that has been on multi-party coalition cabinets. So when there's more than two parties in the executive branch and they share that power, sometimes they disagree on foreign policy. So I look at kind of how they negotiate their differences and how it affects foreign policy, and particularly if there's a small party like some of the parties and religious parties in Israel right now that have kind of disproportionate sway, how that happens and what are the consequences for that. I've also looked at parties in parliament, so what explains their voting patterns on foreign and security policy. And then I've looked at parliaments as institutions, trying to figure out the conditions under which they have influence vis-a-vis the executive. And then a lot of my work, and especially my current work, is on personalities, so leader personalities. What's their psychology? How do they see the world? How do they challenge constraints or not? How do they go about making decisions? And the knock-on effects for international relations. And then finally, area of my research is in national roles. So what roles do states and actors within states see their country playing on the world stage, and why those come about, how those change, how those have effects. So I'm new to St. Andrews. I came to the University of St. Andrews, just started this position in September 2024. And St. Andrews has a lot of good research centers in the School of IR, and this is one of them. And my work is not particularly on law or global governance, but I see foreign policy in everything in international relations. So how states and domestic politics and leaders affect interpretations of law and global governance. Those are kinds of things that I see myself as connected to the center. So I'll say more than one. I think obviously there's big substantive challenges: climate change, arms control negotiations have kind of broken down completely, inequality in the world. Right? There's tons of those, but I think at the heart of it is just a breakdown in global governance themselves. Some of these institutions are out of date. They're in need of reform. There's no quick fixes. But then a lot of states and leaders are just undermining some of the consensus that used to exist about just the importance of having global governance and having centers for cooperation. That's under attack from different leaders' points of view, but also the domestic politics that they're accountable to. So for those of us who study personality, he's been really a gift, really a fascinating topic, because it's sometimes in international relations, it's hard to make the point that leaders and their personalities are really that important. I mean, I think they are, and I think research has shown they are for decades, but now people are kind of paying attention to that a little bit more. But what can we expect? Well, in some ways, we can expect a continuation of his first 4 years. So we got to know him in terms of how he doesn't listen to advice very much. He challenges norms. He has a very transactional view of international relations. He has a America first, not really an isolationist kind of America first, but he wants to compete and win for how he sees the U.S. interest in the world. So I think all of that, there's no reason to think that he's going to abandon any of those kinds of traits and characteristics of his presidency. I do think he's changed a little bit, and this connects. I'm currently working on a research project that's funded by the Leverhulme Trust on how leaders change over time. And I think even just during those 4 years that Trump was in power for his first term, there were things that changed him so that we're going to see a little bit different kind of Trump this time. He's more experienced, so he feels like he knows what he's doing, and he did learn levers to how to manipulate and undermine certain things, especially the bureaucracy. I mean, he learned his view of the deep state within the U.S. Government really crystallized in his first term, particularly around his impeachment. He just became infuriated that people were going after him and criticizing him in that way. So what you're seeing now with Trump 2.0 is a motive that he didn't really have in his first term, which is vengeance. It's retribution. It's the experience and much more knowledge of how to go about that. That said, you never know what's going to come out of his podium in terms of what he's going to focus on. He's predictably unpredictable in that way. But I think we also know, and this connects to the global governance theme, we know what he's not going to do, right? We know we can expect that he won't engage with global governance. We can expect that he won't have cooperation as a end in itself, that he's going to focus on competition and threats, whether he goes through on those or not. So those kind of things is what we've got for the next 4 years, or we'll see if there's more.
You seem overjoyed. certainly a lot of research projects coming
yes,
out of it.
absolutely, absolutely that.